Naval Academy and then heading out the door to Vietnam. What was that like?
Interesting time in history. Young, idealistic, appreciate the country, what we stand for. The Naval Academy was a great place to emphasize that. And I volunteered for Vietnam. I wanted to go over.
Yeah. And then what was it like coming back? I mean, you see a lot of movies, everything from Forrest Gump to a couple of others that kind of highlight that America wasn't digging you so much. What was your experience with that?
I lived in the South, in Louisiana at the time. So it was more tolerable. Southern folks always seem a bit more patriotic. So it wasn't as extensive. If you traveled up north, it was always disconcerting to see someone disrespect the flag or speak as they did of the brave people that served the country. And I'm still offended when I see that today. Yeah,
it is. It's amazing. I hate to say it, but sometimes I feel like there's just too much freedom, right? To be able to, knock a soldier or, anybody who serves overseas and puts themselves in harm's way for the greater good. And then they come back and, people are burning flags or, talking shit about, service members. It's just, it blows my mind. And that's why I say sometimes I feel like there's a little too much freedom, right?
Well, I think we're kind of testing that these days, and free speech has to be prized. To be patriotic means you appreciate the country and our values. So I'm sorry to see it being interpreted differently.
Yeah. And the reason I bring this up is, the timing of us recording this right now. We have Afghanistan shutting down. We have most of the troops gone. We have about 3,000, I think I heard, Americans still there, mostly supporting the embassy, and they're all leaving. And so you see a lot of memes in social media comparing, the fall of Kabul to Saigon after we pulled out of there. What are your thoughts on that?
I think both cases show us that U.S. military strategic planning and might works when we're involved. But if the country we're trying to rescue, save, support doesn't have the internal will to want liberty or want to fight for their own country, then we're not in a place to do it for them. And certainly the debacle in Kabul shows that giving a country a formidable military, if they lack leadership, they lack willpower, and they're corrupt, it's not going to have a happy ending.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been in and out there, during my career, and my experience, as limited as it was compared to conventional forces, there were some that wanted to work hard, and do the job. But for the most part, and I kind of generalize this, working with different militaries in the Middle East, there's a lot of, of that inshallah, mindset, God's will. If God wants me to show up on time, I will. But if he doesn't, then I won't. And that is the storyline for training forces in the Middle East. Like sometimes they'd be like, yeah, we're gonna have 22 guys show up today, and one would show up, and that was it for the entire day. But it was always hit and miss, and never any consistency with their level of commitment. So, it's and then you're sitting there going, what are we doing? Why am I wasting my time? Right. And I think that's where a lot of veterans are. There's some of them that are like, yeah, it's time to get out of there and move on. And then there's others that are like, wait a minute, we put all this effort in. I lost buddies. We shouldn't leave. So I don't think anyone's right or wrong. But I certainly would love to have the $1 trillion or just under $1 trillion we've invested over there to come back here to America. That's for damn sure. I wouldn't mind getting a little piece of that pie, right?
Well, we can. It's been a number of comparisons, and I was in Saigon a few times, and everyone remembers the scene of the final helicopter, the Air American helicopter pulling out of Saigon. Yeah. They falsely state it was at the embassy. And actually, it was at the deputy chief of station of CIA. It was his residence that was lifting off from. But as I'm sure you've read, there was a very well conducted and orchestrated plan for that.
Yeah.
At least what I've seen in the last 24 to 36 hours on television looks like a debacle that people were not planned, and there's just utter chaos as I read the newspaper accounts that we're negotiating with the Taliban to see how we can now get our people out.
Yeah.
I hope there's more work going on constructively behind the scenes than it sounds on television.
Right. Yeah. I think I know from my experience sitting overseas, and usually it's Fox News that's on over on bases, and whatever they're reporting is about 85% incorrect compared to what was going on in the very country I'm standing in. They would tell me, there's protests in the streets, people are dying. And I'm like, I just went and got a haircut today. I didn't see a damn thing going on. So yeah, take the media at a grain of salt. That's for damn sure. Okay, moving out of that political drama. I usually don't touch on it, but I figure it's worth talking about it since the whole Saigon piece, and you're in Vietnam, and coming across Vietnam vets is becoming more rare and rare each day. So thanks for your service over there, Keith.
You're most welcome. Thank you for yours.
What other traps do you think are pretty cool for hotel room doors or in hotel rooms generally?
Depending on the floor, the one I used to love on hardwood floors was taking some cereal and lightly putting it under a rug, a mat. So then they'd step on a mat, they'd crunch the cereal.
Yeah. So anybody close to your door.
If someone close to your door. That doesn't work as much on carpet. Depending on the area, simply blowing dust on anything that you're trying to protect. Just blow it. You can recover some dust from the vent. Put it in your hand and then blow it. So put a fine coat of dust on your briefcase or papers so you can see it in oblique light, but the bad guy can't. And dust is a nightmare for anyone that's doing a search to be able to detect. Any precise measurement, opening and you may have covered it in one of the 100 Deadly Skills, opening a closet door, but leaving it precisely the width of a dime or a quarter open. So anyone that opens it, there's no way they're going to be able to get it precisely. Any little thing like that. I mean, the key is, are you under surveillance in the room, and can you do it in somewhat an effortless way? Mm-hmm. Because if you lay too many traps and the bad guys see you, well, then clearly they're going to know you have something to hide, which is going to bring them to put every resource they have against you. So trying to do it deftly without drawing more surveillance, I think, is a bigger challenge.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's going back a little bit on some of your comments. Yeah, I think the best traps are natural to your environment. You're not bringing something in like what you see in the movies, a piece of tape, attached to the door and the door frame. That piece of tape stands out. That piece of tape says you're trying to catch someone. Whereas the hair off your head, and it happens to fall off the doorknob, wherever you place it, that's more natural to the environment. Dust is natural to the environment. And discrete alignment, like what you're talking about, using a quarter, a coin, or even your thumb. Your thumb width is great for drawers, for closets, for doors. And the other thing is if you're under surveillance in that room, you don't want to be obvious, because if you are, that could bring on a lot more scrutiny than you'd want. And so you've got to do everything as if you're just, I'm unpacking my suitcase, I'm opening drawers, I'm closing them. Thumb. No one's going to see that on camera, that you just left your thumb in the drawer before it closed all the way. Same thing with the closet. And then same thing when you're leaving your room and you let that thing swing slightly, close the door, gets trapped, and that becomes your first alarm to pay attention when you go in your room. Okay, back to the scenario. You're listening to Can You Survive This Podcast? Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and share on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.